I'm not going to lie. I am starting to sip the Kool-Aid when it comes to Nebraska football. The Huskers are firing on all cylinders so far in fall practice. But with that being said, there is one positional group that is struggling mightily. That is a massive question mark going into the season. None other than the Husker defensive line. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a loaded camp update around this unit. We're going to go over every single defensive lineman in detail. Who's playing well? Who isn't? What's the massive issue with that group? And then when it's all said and done, will Nebraska's defensive line shock everybody and live above expectations, or will it be one of the reasons for our downfall? So really quick, this video is loaded with info, very honest defensive line camp update. Hit that like button if you're fired up. And also, if you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? The season's almost here. And listen, if you want daily content, talking favorites, talking Huskers, it is a no-brainer. Take 2 seconds, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. Nebraska, they are looking great so far in fall practice. The season is almost here. This offense is the best it's been in around a decade. And you even go to the defense. The secondary is looking good. The linebackers are coming around. But with that being said, this defensive line has been a question mark since February, and we're about 1 week until the year. And it still is more of a question now than ever. So I want to get things started going over every single player in detail, because who's playing good, who's playing bad, and then we'll talk about all of the massive issues with that unit, whether or not it's actually going to live above expectations, below them, and everything else you need to know. So let's get things going over every single defensive lineman. Okay. Be very honest here. Who's playing well, who isn't? I want to get things started with arguably the best player in that unit. He was recently awarded a single digit, none other than Riley Van Poppel, going into his 3rd year with the Big Red. Now, RVP is somebody who, for the last year now, I've been hyping up. I believe that when it's all said and done with him, and I told you guys this last offseason, I believe he could be better than Ty Robinson with his 4-star pass, with him being incredibly athletic, incredibly long, 6'5", again, 300 pounds, right? He's super athletic to be that size. He can play 3 technique. He can play nose. He's somebody who's great in the running game. He's only getting better, and he's a leader on and off the field. Riley Van Poppel is somebody who's gained the respect of the coaching staff, gained respect of his fellow teammates. There's a reason why he's a single digit. And he's played very well in fall practice. I won't lie to you. He's been great. And clearly, from, again, a coaching standpoint and a player standpoint, he is the best defensive lineman on this team. But he's not perfect. And if Riley Van Poppel is Nebraska's best defensive lineman, it kind of tells you it isn't the greatest unit. Because, again, Riley Van Poppel is a good player, and he's going to be in the mix to potentially be an honorable mention All Big Ten guy. He's going to take a huge jump next season going into his junior campaign. He's a great run stopper. He's somebody, again, with that positional versatility. The only problem with Riley Van Poppel, and it's been that way all the fall practice so far, he can't get to the quarterback consistently. He doesn't have a move in his bag to get to an opposing Big Ten quarterback at a high level, whether it's a bull rush, a swim move, a spin. He doesn't have something in his bag, and it's been that way since he was a true freshman. He's always been a great run stopper, but can he get to that different level to become one of the better pass rushers? It remains to be seen. So that's a common theme with his entire defensive line that we're about to talk about. I feel like it's going to come around in the running game. I know it's going to come around in the running game. Okay, Matt Rule's defense, whether it's at Temple, Baylor, Nebraska, they've always been able to stop the run to high level. I have no doubt that they're going to do that once again this year. The big question mark with this unit, and it's honestly the huge X factor with this entire team, we have never been able to get to the quarterback at a high level. Okay, even last year, we had Ty Robinson, we had Nash, we had Jamarion Butler, we had James Williams. It didn't matter. We weren't a top 40 team in America when it comes to sacks per games, even last year, okay, with supposedly a great defensive line. So you lose all those guys, and we couldn't even get to the quarterback at a high level last year. What is it going to be this year? That's the question mark with Riley Van Poppel. But if he's the best defensive lineman on this team, it kind of tells you there's some concerns getting to the quarterback. Let's just go along their list. Next up, you got Cameron Lenhardt, who has had a little bit more of an underwhelming fall practice. He's somebody who was on the milk carton last year. Everybody was expecting him to break out in a big way. He played great as a true freshman. He was a former 4-star recruit. And yet, when he was on the field, which wasn't very much, he just never made plays. He had half a sack, really didn't get in too many tackles last year, really wasn't a game changer for Nebraska. And for that reason, nobody's really discussing Cameron Lenhardt this year. He's not really the focal point. People are talking about Van Poppel. They're talking about Keona Davis, who we're about to talk about. They're talking about Nwaneri. People are starting to forget about Cameron Lenhardt, and for good reason. He hasn't had the strongest fall practice. He's not somebody who people are constantly talking about and hyping up once again. And very similar to Riley Van Poppel, Cameron Lenhardt, I don't doubt his ability to get to the running back. I don't doubt his ability to be somebody who's impactful at 3 technique in the running game. I think he can take a step forward in that department. I feel great about that. But it's always been when it comes to Cameron Lenhardt, how can you become a more dynamic pass rusher? Same deal with the rest of this unit. We just don't have too many 3 techniques nose tackles who can get to the quarterback. But for me, when it comes to Cameron Lenhardt, I'm not even worried about that. I just need him to be an every down type of player and to not be on the milk carton anymore, because that's the way it was last year, where, he'd have a one good game last year and he'd be all over the field and you wouldn't see him for a couple weeks after that. Cameron Lenhardt, I need him to be a presence week 1, week 2, week 3, and so on. Okay, to make his impact felt. If he's not a good pass rusher, it is what it is. But at least just be impactful when you're on the field. Okay, and make a play any way possible. So Cameron Lenhardt, somebody who just hasn't had the strongest fall camp. Haven't heard too much about him. Probably tells you everything you need to know. So, something around him. And then going on to Keona Davis, who is a fan favorite already. The coaching staff, the second he got on campus last year, they compared him to Ndamukong Suh, which obviously probably they shouldn't have done that. The greatest defensive lineman to ever play in college football. You don't want to compare a true freshman to him, but there's somebody, Keona Davis is that athletic. He is 6'5", 275 pounds. He jumps off the line of scrimmage. He's aggressive in the pass rush. He's somebody who I think is probably one of the more gifted pass rushers on this team. But the thing around Keona Davis that's been interesting is we just haven't heard him taking that step forward throughout this fall camp. Okay, he's not running with the ones. He hasn't run with the ones all of fall ball. So when is this big jump going to happen that's been talked about? Okay, and that's kind of the talking point with the rest of this D-line. You have a bunch of good players. Riley Poppel's a good player. Cameron Lenhardt's a good player. Keona Davis is a fine player. I want to call him a good player just yet. Again, you go down the line. We have a bunch of good players, but we don't have a bunch of great players. We don't have any elite players. So while Nebraska's defensive line, it might be average, it might be good, but it's not great unless your players are great. Which defensive lineman on our team do you think is great? Do you think stacks up against some of the best defensive linemen in America? Oh, wait, I don't think we have one. And Keona Davis is the exact same way. He's a fine player right now. He's not a good player just yet. Can he jump forward to be a good player? Okay, he hasn't run with the ones yet. A lot of premature hype around him for a guy that just hasn't lived up to it so far, right? And again, he has a phenomenal upside. Like, obviously, he has plenty of time. We're not, screaming the alarm bells around Keona Davis. He's going to be a great player throughout his career with Nebraska, but we need him to be great now with the defensive line that desperately needs his production. So he gets a really big opportunity this year. We'll see if he shines. And then you go to some of these other players. Elijah Jeudy is somebody who's had a very strong fall camp. And this could very well be your starting nose tackle. It probably will be somebody who's great in the running game. People forget was a former four-star recruit, highly recruited, All-American coming out of high school. He's somebody who is not great in the pass rush, but he doesn't need to be. He just needs to be somebody who, is double teamed consistently at nose tackle by the center and the guard, eats up blocks constantly, and opens up positions for Riley Poppel to get to the quarterback, or Cameron Lenhardt, or Nwaneri, who we're about to talk about. So Elijah Jeudy, he has had a strong fall camp as a leader, as somebody who the coaching staff relies on constantly. But once again, is he a great player? Probably not. And that's kind of the issue. And then you go to Nwaneri. He is the one player not named Keona Davis right now who I think could be a great player for Nebraska this year. I think he could be one of the best edge rushers in the Big Ten. He could be. And I think you would be stupid to say he couldn't be, because he's a former 5-star recruit, 6'7". He's a freak off the line. He's so speedy. He has the long arms. From just an NFL combine standpoint, he would be a top percentile on everything. Okay, he's a freak of nature. He can get to the quarterback, that's for sure. But with him, he's kind of the opposite of every other defensive lineman in this room. Yes, he can get to the quarterback, these other guys can't, but can he get to the running back? Can he be physical? Can he be an every down defensive lineman? And then the big question around Williams, can he do everything right off the field? He's done everything right so far. He has. He did a great job in spring ball. He's done a great job in fall ball. But when he gets to the season, and maybe things aren't going his way, maybe Williams is not getting on the field as much as he thinks he should be. Can he continue to show up every single day on the right time with a bright mindset, with a smile on his face, and continue to work? That's the big question on him, okay? When push comes to shove. But I like Nwaneri a lot. He has the ability to kind of take this defensive line to a new level. He's the X factor. I don't think Riley Poppel is the X factor. I don't think Lenhardt's the X factor. If Nwaneri can break out for Nebraska and be half of the player we think he could be, I'm not worried about this unit at all. Because he instantly becomes one of the best pass rushers in the Big Ten. And he instantly becomes the best pass rusher on our team. But that's a big if. And he holds the keys to that. So, big question mark around him. And then you go to some of the other guys. Before we talk about this entire unit, my concerns, my optimism. Jalyn George came back from injury. He's playing all right. He's somebody who's really athletic as well, transferred from FCS level. He was an all-conference guy, had a bunch of pressures last year. Once again, can play nose, can play 3-tech. Jalen George is solid. He can't get to the quarterback too, but again, it's a huge adjustment to go from FCS offensive lineman to Big Ten offensive lineman. Like that's huge, right? So I think he's going to kind of have a, welcome to the Big Ten kind of moment, right? If he gets on the field and goes up against some of these top tier Michigan offensive linemen, or we're not playing Oregon, Penn State offensive linemen, right? That's a little bit different. So that's a big question mark around him. And then, Kate Petschok, somebody who could get in the mix, freshman, a lot of expectations around him. Su'Ulofotu, same deal there. Once you get into the depth of this defensive line, that kind of shows you some more issues, because I feel decent about the top 6 here. But then when you get to the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10, ooh, not very good. Nebraska, ideally, they want to rotate around 8 defensive linemen a game. Even you get to the Mason Goldmans, the Ashton Murphys of the world. Isn't phenomenal. So even the David Hoofkins of the world, who Nebraska fans love, who probably, I don't know if he'll ever play. Let's be very honest. So, just recapping this defensive line, I think, they have got pushed around so far in fall practice. Okay. Every report you hear, it has been this way since week 1. It's got a little bit better since then, but every report you hear, it's that the offensive line is dominating the D-line in practice. That the offensive line looks dominant. Okay. And yeah, I think the offensive line is going to take a huge jump forward. I think it's going to be one of the best in the Big Ten. So you feel great about that, but you should also be concerned with the defensive line not fighting back. It's not done really well in any facet. The run stopping hasn't been good, along with the pass rush. But I feel like the pass rush is going to be a lot more of an issue, because Matt Rhule's always had a good run stopping unit wherever he's been. They're going to figure that out with the linebackers too, with Marquez Watson, Trent Vinshavers. They're going to be fine stopping the run. That's not an issue. But getting to the quarterback is, because that was the issue last year, and it was the issue in 2023. For a very long time, Nebraska, that we have not had the ability to get to the quarterback consistently. Okay. So when push comes to shove, when we're playing against Penn State, and it's the end of the year, we need a big stop against Drew Aller, potentially to knock off one of the better teams in America. Can you get to the quarterback and force a fumble? Can you get a big sack on a 3rd down to force him to punt? Or will you be manhandled on the offensive line? Drew Aller has all time in the pocket, makes a big play. I think it might be the latter. And at the end of the day, in order for Nebraska to live up to expectations more than anything, we need our trenches to be great. Offensive line, defensive line. So will this pass rush break out? It remains to be seen. My guess is it probably won't. My guess. I think it's going to be a great run-stopping unit, same as last year. But in order for us to take a step forward, this defensive line needs to be better in the pass rush department. And that's the unit. That's the thing that I just don't believe they will. So I'm going to be very honest with you. It is a question mark. It is a concern. I'm very, very concerned about it. Up until Cincinnati. So let me know your thoughts down below. Maybe you're not concerned about it. Give me a couple reasons why. Let me know in the comment section. Hey, if you made this far, hit that like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go Grad, go Met Rule, and I'll see you in the next one.